There we go. Hi guys, this is Dee, and yes, I am back again. Hi guys, this is Dee, and yes, I'm back again. It looks like I was having some problems with my mic earlier. As I stated, I'm trying to make sure I work out the kinks before I actually go live. Good morning, How to Cook by LN Kalula. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, ma'am, for stopping by. I'm actually trying to get some things set up for, are you able to? Are you able to hear me? All right. Let's see here. It looks like this thing is not working right. Can you hear me speaking? I don't think it's. Hi guys, this is Dee, and yes, I am back again. This is frustrating. Let's see here. I guess I'll play music while I'm getting set up, while I'm trying to set this thing up. Can you hear me speaking? Can you hear me speaking? Can you hear me speaking? Jeff, can you hear me? Jeff, can you hear me? I think this live stream is. I think this live stream is. Okay, good, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to get things set up. I'm getting ready to do some book readings here coming up in the next little bit, and I don't want that day to roll around and then everything starts messing up and acting crazy. So I want to try to start working on it now so I can make sure all of the bugs are worked out. Yeah, I was saying I I think the first book that I'm gonna read is like the very first book that I wrote. It's not gonna be for everybody, and I just have to kind of put that out there because I don't think most people understand when it comes to art, whether it be writing or whatever, whatever a person does. Um, I'm a good Christian person. I go to church. I love the Lord. But when I write about the things that I've seen or heard or the things I've experienced. And some of my writing is a little bit rough. It's not for everybody. And so I try to make sure I let people know in advance, hey, this might be a little bit too rich for your taste. So I just want to put that out there in advance. I don't want you to be mad or upset. Um, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing some inspirational reading because I'll be reading for other authors as well as for myself. My reading is going to be diverse. It's not just going to be my own content. However, I do believe that the a couple of the books that I've published, I'm going to make sure I read them. I want to share them with everyone. Um, Now, I'm not going to read all the books I've published because I have a couple of books that are kind of on the dark side, and I don't want I don't want to offend anyone. I want you to be able to go on and select that book if it's something you're interested in. I showed 3 people in the live. Thank you so much for stopping by. I certainly appreciate you. But if you would go ahead and show me some love by clicking that thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Um, the first book that I'm thinking about reading, it has a racial undertone. Basically, it's dealing with 2 people from 2 different worlds who meet each other, and because of their life circumstances, it's pretty good. I don't want to give it away because the story itself is very moving, very gripping. It's actually pretty is pretty different. 2 completely different people. The main character is Angel. She's an African American woman from. She's originally from the country. She moved home from or she moved to the country from the city to get away from a traumatic past. And then the antagonist is Cole. He's an Aryan. He's actually like a member of the Brotherhood. So he is not just a member, he's like the top dog. And through a series of unfortunate events, they cross each other's path. And the story starts with these 2 people. So I thought about reading a safer. Yeah, most people, believe it or not, most people who have read this book, Jeff, when they read the book, they're like shocked. They're just in awe because they're like, oh my God, I never even thought about that. And I'm surprised anybody would cover such a topic. And I love the way the story goes. And basically, it's just based on things that I've seen. I grew up in the country. I grew up around a lot of people who had a lot of views. Some people were very racist and prejudiced. Some people were, and that was, and when I say prejudice, I mean prejudice on both sides, because when you grow up in an environment, whether you're black or white, and you're told, hey, you don't need to be fooling around on the other side of the fence, you have these prejudices. And so basically, that story examines those prejudices. My first four stories are under a collection of books called the Taboos and Temptations collection. And periodically, I'll add a new story to that collection. I'll probably get to about a 10, or I'll say about a 10 volume set, and then I'll just box it and I'll be done with the Taboos and Temptation collection. The Taboos and Temptations collection is that it deals with racial and social taboos. There are racial and social taboos all over the world. And I like to find those taboos, break them down, and create a happy ending if I can. Um, in doing so, I have to go through a lot sometimes, because you have to work through, people's preconceived notions to get to the happy ending, but I try to do it as best I can. That's true. I mean, I have been really blessed. I've been able to travel all across the United States. I've been able to travel to a couple of countries outside of the United States. And so I've learned, especially when I lived in Dallas, I've learned that people have some real hard um, prejudices. And hi, warrior sister, I'm so glad you came back, hon. I found that most people's prejudices are rooted in ignorance. It's not saying that that person is ignorant, it's just saying that that person doesn't know anything else. And if a person doesn't know something, we can expect them to know better and do better, but that's not always the case. Until a person learns better, they're not necessarily going to do better. My mom and my dad, when they met each other, 36 years ago, I was I was 5 when they met. I was 6 when I met my stepdad. And when they met each other, it was unheard of for a white man to date a black woman. That was unheard of, especially in the country. That was like, no, that's not going to happen. I see 4 people in the live. If as you come in, if you go ahead and press that thumb, I would greatly appreciate it. That'll help me so much. Thank you. Um, when I saw what I saw as a kid, I was around every kind of person you can imagine, honestly. My mom and my stepfather, he was a drum player. He liked to play the drums. His friends were guitarists, singers, truck drivers. So we grew up around. Thank you, Warrior. Thank you so much, hon. We grew up around a little bit of everybody. There was like a hodgepodge in my living room every day. Yeah, I can understand that. It's weird because while I was growing up, I didn't realize there was anything wrong with the way my life was structured. I had my stepfather, he was married to a Creole woman before he met my mother. And when his kids, they were like 2 and 3, when they came into my life, I took them on as my brother and sister, and we've been brothers and sisters ever since. And so the way I live my life, like with other races, accepting, loving, they were my family. I didn't realize until I left home, until I grew up and left home, that that's not how the world is structured. So believe me when I tell you, it was shocking when I left my mom and dad's house. It was really shocking because I didn't understand. I didn't understand that there were these hard social lines. And that's the reason why my story is called The Divided Line, because even though it's been 36 years and things have gotten much better, there's still a lot of hard lines out there. People cross them every day, but they're still there. And because they're still there, there's always going to be somebody like me who's going to write about it, the people that cross the line. When I met my papa, he was, when I tell you, he was racist. Oh Lord, Jeff. I can tell you and Brian are related. The ladies just drive y'all crazy, don't they? Oh my God, you guys are a mess. Oh my God. When I was a kid and I met my papa for the first time, the look on his face would scare paint off a wall. He was just not having it. He wasn't having the whole his son being with a black woman. He just wasn't having it. And I guess after years of my mom and my stepdad being together, and he realized that my mom was actually a pretty decent person, he learned to love her. He grew up being told bad things about black people and he believed it. Um so after I was told that story, I was told that story when I was a kid. So I didn't even realize that there was something socially wrong. When I became an adult, I began to understand what they were talking about, because basically what they were saying is, back in the day, black people and white people didn't mix. They stayed on their side of the street or town. You didn't do all this old mixing stuff. That's how trouble got started. And so I remember we would go to the grocery store. People would look at us like we had 10 heads and 9 tails. And it was funny because I would ask my parents, like, why are they staring at us? I didn't understand that what they were doing was considered socially to be wrong. But it wasn't just from white people, it was from black people as well. People in general looked at my parents like, what the heck is wrong with y'all? What are y'all trying to do? And so as I grew up, my stepfather taught me that the color of a person's skin does not determine the character of that person's heart. He said, always look at a person's character. Don't worry about their skin color. He said, because I've known a lot of black people and white people who were all crap. So I learned a lot from him. I hit my stepdad and we don't look alike, but we act a lot alike. Because he used to always say, it was funny to me. He says, I'm gonna feed you until you look like me. I said, well, Dad, I don't think I'm ever gonna look like you, because I think we got something different about us. And we have a good relationship. My dad is crazy and I'm crazy, and we're all a bunch of crazy people together. A bunch of crazy country folks. But they're some of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. My mom and dad, they're very like laid back, cool, relaxed, good people. When I started writing my story, of course I gleaned a lot from the things that I learned as I was growing up and what I learned when I got out on my own and I started seeing the world with my own two eyes. Because when I left home, I thought falling in love with the blue eyed, blonde haired boy was the thing to do. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. It was absolutely not the thing to do. So society wasn't ready for, for that. So I caught a lot of flack when I got out of the house. And I had to line up with what society wanted, because at the time my grandmother wasn't receptive to that either. She was very much not receptive to that mindset. Once I left my mom and dad's house, I went to stay with my grandma, and she was all Bible thumping. Bible thumping and going to church. You stay in church all the time. And so I learned two completely and totally different worlds, guys. and I was smack dab in the middle of it, and it was hard and it was difficult. And I thank God for it because I wouldn't be the strong person I am today if I hadn't grown up in that diverse soil that I grew up in. Now that I write, I have so much information that I can use for my characters. Jeff, I was not playing with you when I said I'm going to write a book about you and your kids and that crazy cousin of yours. I'm not playing with you. Jeff, you said when I was in the second grade, Fort Worth ISC started integrating their schools. I got You got bused to South Fort Worth from North Side. Ooh, I was in a school with 90. Yeah. Well, I mean, shoot, if you fit in, there was nothing wrong with that. Everybody doesn't have the same, like, I mean, that's the thing that gets me. I believe in everybody feeling a sense of pride and building up their community, whether it be a white community, black community, but we don't have to do it to the detriment of each other. I mean, I just don't believe that's what God created us for. I don't believe that. And the reason I don't believe it is because my parents have been together and they have been through some heck of a hard time. They've been through it, and I was right there and I saw it. So I know it's not easy. But I also came to understand that some of the things that are not easy are the things that are best. And right now, to this day, if you go down to Hope, Arkansas, and you sit on my mom and dad's porch and they're sitting there shooting the breeze and laughing, when you leave there, you feel like you walked out of heaven because it's so relaxed, it's so like peaceful. Anyone that goes to their home, they don't leave the same way that they came. You can go to my mom and dad's house with the weight of the world on your shoulders, but when you leave, you have laughed so much. They'll probably put something on the grill because dad is always trying to grill something. Dad is probably gonna have some beer, and he's gonna want to walk you around the property to show you everything that he's done out there, the gun range and the garden, his horse, the woods out back. They down home people, very inviting people. Mom is gonna be running around in the kitchen cooking, getting everything ready to go on the grill. That's just how they are. You can pull up in the yard and if you don't know where they live, you're gonna miss it. Yeah, that's right. When you're a kid, Jeff, you're 100% right. When you're a kid, you don't even realize that racism exists because in your world, you're a kid, you're playing, having fun. But when you start growing up, that's when you start understanding what these words prejudice and racism mean. I've had friends that said things or did things that weren't right and were very racist and very prejudiced, but they didn't even realize that what they were doing was wrong until they were exposed to other people and they learned that it was wrong. Yeah, it really is. And that's one of the reasons I'm moving back to Arkansas. I want to be closer to my family. When I was living in Dallas in 2016, I would say starting in about 2014, I started getting homesick real bad. The city is, to me, it's too much. And I honestly believe that's why I call myself Black Conspiracy TV. I honestly believe that if anything ever happens with the infrastructure of our country, that the city is going to be the worst place in the world to be. I mean, I want to be out on my homestead with a couple of guns in the gun cabinet, my land posted, letting you know that if I don't know you're coming and you ain't been invited on my property, you might be in trouble if I catch you out there. That's just how I grew up. You post your land, you let people know, hey, we tote guns around here. So don't come out here fooling around on this land unless you want problems or unless you get permission in advance. Um, that's one of the things. When I grew up, I mean, every kid learned how to shoot a gun. That was standard. Like that was standard. I can shoot a 30-06, 12 gauge, 22, muzzle loader. Um, I think my dad has an assault rifle. I'm not gonna say he does because he may not, but I think he does. Maybe. I say maybe just in case them folks is watching. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Maybe not. But um we believe in guns. I grew up learning how to break them down, clean them, put them back together. Yeah. Okay, that's exactly what my family members said. If 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 the stuff hit the fan, we all know where to go. We all know where to go. Because and I keep my criminal history 100% clean. I don't do any drugs, so I don't end up getting, like banned from being able to purchase a weapon because I can go to there's a gun store right here where I live in New Boston. I can go up there and buy any gun I want. Matter of fact, I went up there and picked up a nice little 9 millimeter from them not too long ago. We don't play around here. We believe in being prepared. But yeah, it's like I'm a realist and I watch the sign of the times, and over the past 20 years, things have changed so much. I can only imagine what 20 more years will look like. So I want to be prepared. I want to be on a nice little homestead somewhere in Arkansas off in the woods and like my parents' house, because when you drive by my parents' house, you don't even know it's there because it's off of the road and there's trees surrounding it. So you'll drive right by it unless you've been down there 100 times. And that's the type of lifestyle that suits me. When I lived in Dallas, I lived around some gnarly people, some grimy people. And I made up my mind a long time ago, if the Lord ever says the same and I can go back home, I'm going back to Arkansas. That's right. And there's a lot of us who are still alive who were brought up on a more like natural type lifestyle, like working on a farm, growing your own vegetables, keeping your own like animals. And that's just like you, Jeff. With you going out and hunting for coon, I imagine you probably deer hunt every now and again if you get a chance, fishing and stuff like that. Well, I don't know about you fishing. I saw what you said about fishing the other day. Instead of you catching fish, you were catching yourself. But from what I understand, from what I get, and from what I understand, you know, those of us who know how to survive those survival skills, that's going to come in handy. That's going to come in handy if everything shuts down. I want to be able to, I remember when I was a little girl, my granny taught me how to prepare food and store it. So I know how to can food. I know how to bug out if I need to. I know natural ways of collecting water, filtering water. Um, I know how to make it. You're not supposed to shoot fish. Shooting fish, Lord have mercy. My little girl can catch fish. That's bad. You need to get better at that, buddy. Good buddy. You can't let a 14-year-old girl outdo you. That and she's pretty much a city girl. You can't let that 14-year-old girl outdo you. That's terrible. But yeah, and when I was a kid, when I was about 14 or 15, we lived about 15 miles outside of town. And when we lived outside of town, we had like a 90 by 60-foot garden. And then we had like a little old 6 by 10 foot of garden where we planted like cantaloupes and stuff like that. We had to get out there and weed 2 rows by hand every day. And you better not pull up a plant. I used to get so mad because I had to do stuff like that. But now, because of the way my dad and my mom brought us up, I am so thankful because I will never forget those lessons. I know how to hunt. I know how to go trapping. I know all about traps. And what I don't know, I know what to look for on the internet. I know how to um, fish. I know how to camp, like not the camping where you take all of this easy stuff to make your life sweet and easy on the campsite. I know how to bug out, like really live out in the woods. My dad, he taught us everything from raising your own, livestock at home, raising your own garden, a serious garden, to um he also he also taught us how to, like do like minor repairs on cars. He's like, there'll come a day in your life when you're not going to be able to rely on anybody and you need to be able to do this for yourself. So we learned a lot of survival skills when we were kids and teenagers. Oh God. Jeff, you gonna make a trap for fish. You better just get you a drag net. Get you a drag net. Now, the only thing about a drag net is gonna be illegal in some parts, so you don't want to get caught dragging. Because if you get caught dragging and it's illegal, you're gonna be in trouble. Oh Lord. But yeah, it's like I said, my books are basically written based on life experiences. Um, my characters, no rules, right? Okay. It's survival of the fittest then. I know. Oh, you're gonna be like Brandon Fraser in what was it? It was God, I can't the movie is trying to come to me. I can't think of it. The Mummy, the one with Jet Li in it, where he was out there shooting fish. That's gonna be you. Shoot freaking fish. But yeah, like I was saying, my pretty much everything that I write is based on it's not based on real people because you can't write about real people without their permission. But it's like fictionalized characters, but somebody I've met, someone I've come in contact with, they kind of like, caught my attention. It was a pretty good movie. It was actually funny. It was it wasn't as good as his first two. It seemed like he was trying too hard, but it was kind of good. It was that third one, it was okay. I'll put it like that. It was okay. The first Mummy and the second Mummy, they were really good, but that third one, it was alright. It was okay. I give it a half of a thumb up. That's when they met the Yeti. Oh Lord. I guess I'm supposed to be getting up, even though I'm already up. But yeah, like I was saying, pretty much everything that I write is based on something that I've done in my life, something that I've seen in my life. I have one book that um it doesn't want to come to fruition yet, but I think it's gonna be a freaking bad A book whenever it comes together. It's basically about the world getting tired of us and saying, you know what? I'm done with y'all. The earth said just start getting rid of folks. So I just haven't come up with the concept yet, but I'm working on it. Mother Earth just is like, yep, these people who are working against me, it's time for me to get rid of y'all. I'm still kind of like working on it in my mind. Bits and pieces are coming to me, and as those bits and pieces come, I'm gonna put it together. My My book, The Divided Line. I actually have The Divided Line. The Divided Line. It's actually a trilogy. The Divided Line. I'm sorry, The Dividing Line. My mind is so crazy. The Dividing Line. The Dividing Line. Vengeance is part two. I've already written those two books, and probably the middle or end of May, maybe the first part of June, I will release my third book called The Dividing Line Absolution. And it'll be the end of this book series. Um, as I was saying before, I with the dividing line, with the racial undertone in the book, or actually it's the main plot of the book. With all of the stuff that's going on right now and all of the tension in the country, it's really like the story really touches so many things. And the last book, oh, excuse me, the last book, I want to make sure that I don't end it in a bad way. So I want to make sure that I spend enough time researching and putting together a book that is gonna just be like like kind of like take your wind away. I want everybody to enjoy it. I want people to really get something out of it. And I'm just like seriously looking forward to doing the last book in this trilogy. Um, One thing about my books is that all of my books are um, all of my books all of my books are they're all um, they're short books. They're not long books. They're what would be called a novella. And the reason they're novellas is because I have kind of a short attention span. I Once I get tired of something, I'm done with it. I don't want to just keep doing it. And so um, with this particular book, I don't know, I just want to keep it to where it's something that you can read in one setting if you want to. Sit back, chill, and just read that one book and just relax. And um, I don't know. I'm not one of those type people who can write like the long books. I probably could if I really just wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to get in there, do what I got to do, and get out. that's that's me. I want to get in there, say what I want to say, do what I want to do, and get out. I know it's terrible, but it works for me. It actually works pretty well. And it doesn't just work for me, it actually works for others because some people are like, you know what, I never really thought of that, but that is a good idea to just get in there and get out. Don't just hang around and make something that nobody's gonna enjoy. If you're gonna write something, let it be something that people will enjoy. Exactly. And that's the thing. Most people who read my books, Jeff, they're surprised because they get into it and they're like, oh my God, it was so good, but it just ended so quickly. And so, 9 times out of 10, when they have that knee jerk response to my book, I'm already working on another one because I'll get to the end of a book and I'm like, ooh, I should have kept writing. But because I like the idea of reading, most people are very busy. The average person doesn't really just have time to sit down and read anymore. Used to, you could grab a book, you knew you were going to be off on Saturday, you knew you were going to be off on Sunday, but jobs don't work like that anymore. Now, most people work on the weekends. And if you're off during the week, you're busy because you've got a million and one different things you got to do. So, who has time to sit down and read? There are a lot of people who do have that kind of time because they don't have kids, or they have that kind of time. But the most people that work, They don't have that kind of time. And so I want people to be able to pick up a book that I've written. I want them to be able to read it and be like, man, that was just like watching a good movie. I want them to, be able to enjoy it and then say to themselves, man, I can't wait to, read the next book. Well, the next week, you pick up another, your next off day, you pick up another book, and it doesn't take you all of your day to read it. You can read it in a couple of hours. That's what I say. In 90 minutes to 120 minutes, you can read through my book, and it's almost like you watched a good movie, basically. Or, yeah, 90 to 120 minutes, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Sit down, read it. Once you get to the end of it, you think to yourself, man, I wish it was another book. You look up, I've got 8 other books. And actually I have 6 more books that are completed and just need to be edited. I'm actually working on editing one right now so that I can have it ready to be released either next week or the week after next. But I want to make sure that I do a really good deep edit on it because my first 9 books that I uploaded to Amazon, I didn't I didn't spend any money on an editor or anything like that. I edited them myself, and I learned a lot because when you're writing a book, you turn around and read the book and you edit a book yourself, you will miss a lot because your mind will read into writing what you wanted to say. So you can say, I met a blue-eyed blonde-haired girl and she touched my heart. And then you might write, I met a blue blonde who touched, because you thought you wrote that whole sentence, but you didn't. And so that's the reason why it's important to have someone to proofread your work so that they can say, hey, and they'll highlight, or, you work out some kind of system where they can show you where you've made mistakes. So when that person tells me, oh, okay, oh, I made this mistake. Okay, good. I'm glad highlighted it. That way I can go back and correct it. And you go back and correct it. And that goes for spelling. That goes for missing words. That goes for too many words. That goes for missing punctuation, sentence structure that's all creepy looking and weird. You know, I've even gone through and read a whole like stream of paragraphs and moved like 2 or 3 paragraphs from where they originally were. And when I was done, it read better, it flowed better. So that's the reason why it's good to have more eyes on your work. When I wrote the first 9 books, I didn't have any eyes on my work. It was just me trying to see if I could do it. And then when I put them on Amazon and they were popular, I was surprised. I was like, what? Really? So now I want to make sure that the product that I put out is it shows that I'm growing as an author. I want it to be better. I was like, I can't believe people actually like this because it's kind of rough. But that was me being overly critical of myself because a lot of people really, dug what I was doing. And I'm just humble. I'm thankful because I know I need to read to grow and I need to work on my writing. Jeff, I hope you do like you said and write down your memories from your childhood because, honey, you would be surprised how many people will read something you write and connect with it. And you would think to yourself, nobody would ever be interested, but you'll be surprised. That's the reason why your channel is popular because people love watching you guys running around out there trying to keep up with your dogs and trying to find that elusive coon. It's simple. It's like I was telling somebody the other day, I said watching your channel is awesome because it's like one of those nature shows. The only difference is the host actually talks to you as he's walking. And I'm not saying talking into the screen, but you actually respond to the people who are in your chat. And that's awesome. That is completely and totally awesome. That makes people want to go out on a hunt with you. It's really awesome. So I hope you go ahead and decide to write your memoirs and publish them. I'll be your first customer. I'll buy your first book to show my support. I thought you were going, Jeff. I thought you were going home and going to bed. I mean, I appreciate you being in my life, but I don't want you to be so tired tomorrow that you can barely move. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Phone. You have to excuse me and my alarms. I have alarms set from 1,000 years ago. I used to wake up every morning. Even if I would fall asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up at 5:30 every morning like clockwork. Because when you're living in Dallas Fort Worth and you're driving through that traffic, you have to build in an extra hour into your schedule so that you're not late getting to work. An extra hour to an hour and a half. And so I started out on the floor working on the phones, taking calls. And after I've been there for about 3 months, I want to say, they offered me a quality control position. And I took it. And I actually loved it. Oh God, traffic is horrible. It's a nightmare. That was the only thing I did not miss when I left Dallas. When I tell you I didn't miss it, I didn't miss it at all. That doggone traffic in Dallas is a nightmare. That traffic will make you hit somebody. And I'm not talking about with your car. I'm talking about you want to smack them because they're on their phone. They're trying to do makeup while they're driving. It's crazy. They want to do everything while they're driving. But yeah, I lived for it. I'm not even gonna lie. I lived for it. I love my job. I worked my first campaign that I worked on, I worked for the United States Mint. And I had a lot of old guys calling in. And of course, you know how old guys are. They call in and hear a pretty voice and they want to try to flirt with you. But I learned a lot about coins, about silver and gold from those old guys too. They taught me a lot. Um, then after I left that campaign, I went to work on a campaign that was dealing with Marlboro and Black and Mild, Virginia Slims, Parliament, a lot of those companies. And that was interesting. I had to learn a lot of laws because there's so much that you have to learn, to handle any type of tobacco product. Um, before I worked for that company, I worked for a construction company, a subcontractor, and he did flooring in the DFW area, and I loved that job. It was different. I did estimates for flooring, for VCT, linoleum, um, for porcelain and ceramic tile. I would look on those floor plans and I would submit bids after I did like some magic on the computer. I would submit bids, bidding for flooring jobs for my boss. And I made that joker a lot of money because I'm really good with math. I made him a lot. I made him too much money. He was something else. He was crazy. It was funny. It's so funny because I wrote a story and he was kind of like he was one of my main characters in the story. I used a lot of his characteristics for one of my main characters in the story. We would have these arguments and it was ridiculous because I'm 4'11" and he's like 6'5". He's this tall, gray haired white guy who's nuts, absolutely nuts. And I'm this short. black chick, and he would try he would try to start mess with me. And I think he did it on purpose. I think he got something out of that because I would be in there just working, rocking away, putting those bids together, go down his little checklist, making sure I got everything in the file. Cause I know periodically he come in, check my files, being nosy. And he'd come in, he'd just stand in the door. And he would just wait to see what I was doing. And I wouldn't even turn around. I'd be like, Bill, what do you want? Oh wow. That's cool. That's real cool. So you used to work in like security systems and stuff like that? I thought that, but I'm not one of those type people to read into stuff. And that Joker, I'm telling you, I swear he would give me the hardest time. There would be days he would come into my office and he would just stand there and he would be like, Andrea, I need you to come see me. And when I would go in his office, I was like, Bill, I'm working on something. What do you want? And he would be like, well, go ahead and bring your files and let's have a meeting. So I would go in his office and he get to looking through my files. He's always looking to see if I left anything out. That there was good. I know there was good money in that. I wish I could have gotten into security, like gated communities and stuff like that, putting in security systems. There's good money in that. But I actually there was good money in what I was doing too. The only thing was he was making the money. I was making hourly, so that didn't help me much. I mean, he paid me pretty decent. I ain't gonna lie on him, but he didn't pay me what I was worth. That Joker would have me bring like 5 or 6 of my latest contracts. Oh yeah. Anytime you're dealing with people's security systems, I had to have a background check working for the United States Mint, even though we were like a subcontractor for them and working for tobacco companies, even though we were a subcontractor for them, we had to have background checks because you're dealing with the laws and a lot of sensitive stuff. And so if your background wasn't squeaky clean, you can hang it up. You weren't getting on the when I worked for this place down at the Renaissance Tower in downtown Dallas. Yeah, you weren't going to be on those campaigns because you had to have a squeaky clean background. When I worked for Bill, he was that joker. He didn't care who worked for him. When he hired me, I don't think he thought that I would be able to handle the job, and he was kind of amazed that I was really good with numbers because some of the other GCs would call just to see if I was going to bid on a project because they knew that my numbers were like real close to being dead on. And he would call me in his office. He'd tell me bring my latest projects. I would go in there and we would sit down and get to talking. Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty high up there. That's pretty high up there coming from the White House. I would go in his office. I would sit down and I already knew. I could tell just by his body language what kind of day we were going to have. That joker, it never failed. He would try his absolute best to make me mad. And I would try to be calm. I would be like, I'm not going to let him get on my bad side. Because I know what he's doing. He's trying to provoke me so he can leave and go chill for the rest of the day after he done pissed me off. And so this joker, every single time, he would literally tick me off on purpose. On purpose. He would look through my files. He wouldn't find anything wrong. Then he started complaining about this, that, and the third. And eventually, he would get to the point where he would say something that would just be like, enough. I've had it. I'm not putting up with this. And I'll never forget, he came on the other side of his desk one day and sat in front of me. And I'm sitting there looking at him and I'm like, Bill, we're not gonna do this, okay? I'm telling you right now, we're not going to do this. And he's like, well, Andrea, we just have to make sure that we're on the same court. I said, you say that every time. I said, when have I ever messed up any contract? That joker, he like giving me a hard time. I was like, when have I ever messed up any contract? I said, I've even made you. I made him. We bid a contract at $75,000, a little over $75,000, because they left out a whole buttload of tile. By the time we got through with that contract, and then they wanted us to add some other stuff into it, by the time we got through with that contract was worth $135,000. I caught the errors on the floor plan before we ever submitted it. And I told him, I said, I think we're gonna make some money on this. He was like, why do you say that? I said, because look at this floor plan. I said, this is a whole room of nothing but porcelain tile that they did not include in this contract. And then another room, they wanted a very specific type of flooring that had to be ordered from like overseas. They didn't specify that either. And I pointed out to my boss and I was like, let's bid it. And so we bid it. And when they went back, because anything you ask for beyond the contract, that's more money. When we got through with that contract was worth $135,000. Because I knew what I was doing. I'm not boosting myself. It's just I really like math. And so when I was looking at the blueprint, the floor plan, and I saw that this room was left out, I just said, well, let's bid it with everything with that room excluded, because if that room is excluded, they can't expect us to include that because it wasn't included in the original bid. And so that's what we did. They looked at that price. They saw that we had everything that was specified on the contract and that it was a reasonable bid. So they took it. As they got in there and got to doing all the work, you have to be careful when you're looking at floor plans, because there might be a hidden, like, if your floor plans doesn't show like a room or something, it might be hidden. And then, like, say for instance, they didn't update the floor plans to include a room, then that's not part of your bid. Man, when I got through with that contract, I freaked that contract. We made some money. But yeah, he oh my God, he loved giving me a hard time. And I'll never forget, one day he stood up in front of me and he was just talking cash. And I was like, it was the funniest scene, because now that I think about it, this dude is like 6'5". I'm 4'11", and I'm standing toe to toe with him, and we're going at we were going at it, and I wasn't backing down. I just refused to back down. Cause I'm like, dude, I don't do anything but make you money. I said, you are not gonna come in here and just get on my butt. And I told him, I said, you are always chewing on my ass. I said, you are not my husband. I said, you cannot just be chewing on me free. It was funny because I didn't even think. I said, no, I said, ain't no man gonna be chewing on my ass except for my husband. I didn't even realize I said it until I said it. It was so funny. He was looking at me and laughing. He was dying. He decided, you know how a person is when they intentionally try to start some mess with you. He was intentionally trying to start some mess with me. That joker, he couldn't even say anything else. He just got his, because usually after we had our weekly spats, well, you're taller than I am. Usually after we had our weekly spats, he would grab his jacket, he would grab his stuff, and he would leave, and then he would call back later and he'd say, are you okay now? You feeling all right? I don't care what nobody say. That dude was doing that on purpose. He was doing that to me on purpose. Why would you call back and ask somebody if they all right after you done started some mess with them? That sounds like something your husband or your boyfriend would do. He would do that every time. It never failed. And I told him, I said, we're going to have to quit doing this. I said, this is not right. I said, our relationship is not right. I'll never forget that joker called me one night. He was drunker than Cooter Brown. He was so drunk on that phone. He called me. He said, "Did you go to church tonight, Andrea?" I said, "Yeah, I just left." He was like, "Did you pray for me?" I said, "I pray for you all the time." I said, "I'm always praying for you." I said, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm doing pretty good." I said, "You sound like you're doing real good." Jeffy sounded like your cousin sounded the other night. He was feeling pretty good. He was feeling himself. I was like, our relationship was it was not, it wasn't right. It wasn't right at all. But it was fun. I can honestly say he was a crazy guy, but I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed my job until I didn't enjoy it anymore. But I can honestly say I liked most of the aspects of the job. I love meeting the different vendors. I love when they walked in the office. Yes, he was too funny. I love him. I'm just gonna tell you. I think I love his humor because he doesn't even realize that he's being a character. I love that. And I like his country accent. That country accent, boy, he sounds like a surefire Texan. He is just cute. His attitude and everything is real cute. And every time he sees a good looking girl, he just loses himself. He can't even see straight. Oh my God, it's so funny. But yeah, I've had some weird experiences when I worked in Dallas. I think a lot of it is because a lot of the jobs that I've held, people were surprised. I was an assistant manager at AMC in Irving. I was a general manager for Popeyes in Longview some years ago. That was a heck of a job. I was offered an assistant manager position in Garland for a Pizza Hut, but I turned it down because I didn't want the stress. At that time, I was working for the company that I worked for in downtown Dallas. And so I liked that job. I loved working closely with people, helping. I would listen to people's phone calls and then pull them off the floor if they needed extra training to get them up to speed to take care of our customers. I would have to meet with some of the big wigs sometimes to have meetings about our customer service goals, what they expected from the contracts that we have with them. Um, my boss, he was younger than me, so he was always amazed. Oh yeah, Jefferson is a nice little country town. You can have a lot of fun down there because there's a lot of woods out there to get into. I think when you pass, what is it? Um, oh Lord, my mind, Kaufman. Once you hit Kaufman, you just start hitting nothing but woods. And then if you go further down south, you just hit pretty much, you come to the next big city from Kaufman is probably going to be Tyler. And then after Tyler, it's a bunch of small cities. So yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had down off in those woods. I'll talk with my dad. I'll see. I'll probably try to go up there sometime in the next week and talk to them. Dad probably won't go out because he's had some issues with his back, and my mom just recently had. Yeah, I'll talk to my dad and see what he says about like maybe going out on his land, but he probably won't go out himself because, or who knows, he might. Never know with dad because he might be game for that. My mom recently was sick, and my dad has had some problems with his back, so he may say y'all can come out there and hunt. You know, he might go out with you. I just have to talk to him and see what he says. because he's an avid sportsman. He used to do a lot of bow hunting, but he had to stop because he had some problems with his back. But they've got so many woods out there, and then a lot of the people surrounding the area have huge, like 100-acre plots of land out there, 50 and 100 acres of nothing but woods. So he might know people down in there that y'all could, go visit and hunt with, or get permission to hunt on their land. It's a real friendly community. When people know you and you become friends with them, you're friends. The only way you're not friends with them anymore is if you do something silly and you don't kind of clear it up with them. But they're all really good down home people. um Recently my mom was in the hospital, and when she was in the hospital I met her pastor and some of the members of their church, and they're all just as sweet as they could be. And they're all like, you got to come and visit us. Which I don't have any problem with that. I know little down home churches, they're real God fearing people. um my mom was telling them that I was looking at moving back to Arkansas, and of course they are like, oh yeah, you got to come back to Arkansas, you'll love it. So I just can't wait. I know it's going to be fun. I'm kind of excited about moving back home instead of being here in Texas. But I think if you go hunting down there in Arkansas, you might like Arkansas a lot. I know Texas has its nice places, but when I tell you Arkansas has some pristine hunting places. I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wooded areas. You know, That's why they call Arkansas the natural state, because it's beautiful down there. I don't think it's too far from Malvern. What other cities are close to Malvern that you can think of right off? Let me see. I don't think it's too far from Malvern. Uh, bu- 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 bu. I know I've been to Malvern, but I know it's been a while, so I can't just think of it right off the top of my head. Yeah, you're gonna drive. You're literally gonna drive right through Hope on 30 when you're if you leave from where you live and you drop down to 30 and go straight on 30, headed through Little Rock, and then going from Little Rock to Little Rock to West Memphis, and then from Memphis on in, like from West Memphis to Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, you'll be on 30 straight all the way, I think, until 10 or something. Not 10, it's something else. There's another highway you'll hit that'll connect. Let's see. Malvern. Yeah, Malvern is right off of Interstate 30. So yeah, cause see, you'll go through Hope, then Prescott, and then from Prescott straight to Malvern. Right. And it's like really when you it's usually when you get close to hot springs when you start passing all of the pine trees. And that's when you start getting into some of those, like you get into more different, like different types of trees. But that's about when you get to probably around Arkadelphia, Hot Springs type area. Oh, mm. Yeah, 440, 40. Yeah, yep, yeah. Because you'll get to Little Rock on 30, and once you get to Little Rock, you'll it's like you'll go around this kind of like circle on the highway, and then it'll connect you right into 440 or 40. And then you'll be in like West Memphis for a short while, and then you're in Memphis. I used to do a lot of driving, so I've been all up. I've only been to Tennessee, like as far as to Memphis, and came right out. But mostly I've driven on 2010, I think it was 10, when I went to, let's see what that is. I went to, yeah, I've driven on 20 when I went to North Carolina. But I want to say it was another highway that we took through Montgomery. No, that was 65. And then we crossed over into Georgia, and then South Carolina and North Carolina. I haven't been up there in so long. I couldn't tell you what is up there. I just remember because I know we used to, back some years ago, we used to go to church, to different church events up there in Little Rock. And during the summertime, when we were like kids up into our teens, we used to go to Lake Washita all the time, from Nashville, Arkansas. And so we drove around Hot Springs, Malvern. We would drive around like the surrounding area before we would go over to Lake Washita. And then we would spend the summers up there on the lake, camping, fishing, swimming, having a good time being country kids. Those were, like they say, the good old days. We had fun back then. It's not like it is now. Shoot. Now everything is about work, work, work. Work, work, work. Oh, I bet that was awesome going to Miami. Oh Lord, and you were 17 too? Oh my word. I bet you were a hot mess at 17. Down there with all those bikinis walking around. Oh Lord. Yeah, I remember, shoot, when I was 17, life was gravy. It was so much fun. There was so much stuff to do, so many places to go, so much stuff to get into. But I ain't 17 anymore, unfortunately. Some days are long gone. I have to act like I got sense now. Tell me about the good old days. Oh wow, that's a long time to be in one place. I love that. I love Brahms for one thing. Cherry pecans and cream. That is the only thing that they have that nobody else can duplicate. Their cherry pecans and cream ice cream. It's the best. I remember thinking to myself, anytime I would pass by, I had to stop and get me a double scoop of cherry pecans and cream. Okay, that's it right there. What made you leave them? Mhm. What made you leave Brahms? I understand that. Yeah. I I think mostly I've always tried to work and like give my kids a real good like I don't know, provide a good example for them because I noticed that when my kids were growing up, a lot of people didn't want to work. They didn't try to do anything, with themselves. And you can't expect kids to be good kids and grow up to be whole people if they don't see you like doing what's right. I saw my mom and dad, both of them working, 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 killing themselves. Dad would often work for himself because he actually made more money if he worked for himself because he's a carpenter, he's done plumbing, he's done electricity, he's done a little bit of everything. So when he works for himself, he actually makes more money working for himself. He worked for Walmart, I think, for like almost 20 years. And once he left Walmart because he hurt himself. He got hurt, not on the job, but he got hurt, period. And after leaving there, I can honestly say I thank God for those two because watching them work helped form my work ethic. And people would always tell me, you're too serious or you're too, you follow the rules too much. I couldn't help it because I didn't know anything else. But I always kept good paying jobs and I always was like considered for management wherever I went because they knew they could trust me. They knew I wasn't going to do anything stupid. Oh yeah. That's the reason I knew when you were saying that, you guys were putting in gate operators, basically doing that kind of type of security. I knew y'all were making money because my dad was just doing flooring by himself. Him and another dude, they were doing flooring by themselves, like not working for somebody else, but subcontracting themselves. And they were making crazy money. They were making crazy money. And I didn't even understand the kind of money they stood to make until I started working for that crazy dude I was telling you about. When I saw the contracts that he submitted, I worked with a guy to put together a contract that was worth $15 million. We didn't get it because our company was too small to handle such a big workload. But man, when I tell you, if we could have got that contract, I told my boss, I said, if we get this contract, I want a percentage. You need to hook me up with some of this good old money, honey, because I put my brain on this. Man, when I worked as the general manager for Popeyes in Longview, that was one of the things that used to piss me off. People did not want to come to work. It's like, how do you expect me to hold your position on my schedule, but you don't want to show up for work? I will never forget. I hired this guy, and he was like, if you hire me, I'll come to work, I'll work hard, I'll be here every day. Of course, I'd heard it before, and I was just kind of giving him the side eye a little bit, but I was like, okay, I'll give you a chance. Why is it that we were putting up a truck one day? We're back there in the freezer. You got to rotate your foods out. Whatever's in there already, you got to pull it out, put all your new stuff back, dates, and the time you received it. It has to be dated, it has to be time, it has to be initial so you can rotate it out properly. Why is it this stupid dude? He was like, how did he say that? He's like, what can I do to get special privileges? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I said, what does that mean? He's like, little mama, you cute and all this other stuff. I said, oh my God. I said, dude, good morning. Good morning, Save Like a Pro with Leah. Thanks for coming in, hon. If you'll go ahead and press that button, I'll greatly appreciate it. He was trying to do like some kind of I guess he felt like if he talked sweet to me, he would get special privileges. Or if we, played around outside the store, that we would get special privileges. I told him, I said, what I need you to do for me is come to work and do your job. That's what I need you to do for me. I said, there are no special privileges here. I said, what you will do though, I said, coming at me sideways like that, I said, you will get written up. I said, because I don't sexually harass people and I won't take anybody sexually harassing me. He said, oh, little mama, it's not like that. I said, little mama, nothing. I said, first of all, my name is Miss Andrea. I said, you can even call me Andrea since you're actually older than I am. I said, I said, don't come at me like that, bruh. I said, don't do that, please. Cause I don't roll like that. I'm not that kind of female. I said, I don't know who you worked for before, where I guess they gave you special privileges because you gave them special privileges. I said, but we don't do that here. It's all about work. Boy, I could not believe that. I was like stunned. I'm like, who does that? But I forget some people do that. Everybody's not as straight laced as I am. Okay, yeah, you did do work for a lot of like big timers. Yeah, you're right. Lazy people do that. But I mean, that's the thing. If you're not doing your job, who's going to do your job? If I have the workload evenly distributed and I take part of your workload and put it on somebody else because I didn't gave you special favors, that's going to make somebody mad at me. I'm not going to do that. And I'm certainly not going to be in there moving boxes around when I hired you to do it. I'm not gonna do that. Shoot. I can move them around, but if I'm gonna move them around, I'm the general manager. If I can move those boxes around, that means I don't need you. I could just take you off my schedule and save that money for something else. That's so crazy. I don't know why guys pull that, but I guess because some women go for it. Some women they look at some dude, he look pretty good, and they're desperate, and so they'll accept that kind of foolishness. But I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just believe in work ethics. I believe that when you come to work, you should work as if God is watching you himself, as if he's standing right there over your shoulder, watching your every move, because you should have a sense of pride in the work that you do. But a lot of people don't. They just want to get paid. They don't want to do nothing for it. And nowadays it doesn't pay to get caught up in no scandals like messing around with your employees because they can say that you sexually harassed them. I'm not down for that. I'm not trying to go to jail for that. I ain't trying to get in trouble for that. That's one thing about me. I've always tried to just do my job and leave the rest of that other stuff. I don't fool around. need to stop that. You need to stop that. If that's the case, how do you have a woman if that's not the case? You need to stop. You need to stop. Oh my God, you a mess. You always talking about your mug. You need to stop that. There is somebody for everybody, honey. Believe that. There is somebody for everybody. I know I'm a humble person. I don't really just like toot my own horn because I don't know, I just grew up, being told you don't do that. But I'm not gonna tell nobody else I don't think I look good. I think I'm the cutest thing God ever created since He created grapes. No, since He created strawberries. I believe in me if don't nobody else believe in me. That's just how I am. I'm not. That's one thing about me. I'm not fixing to give my own self a hard time. Even though I probably could, because I ain't really just like, I ain't one of those. I'm not one of those women who's just set on themselves that much. I don't know. Hey, Jizzy Guab, I'm still here. I'm still at it, trying to get those numbers. I'm trying to get those numbers. Trying my best. I got to looking at my watch time, and I noticed that I don't have I guess as much as I should because I know pretty soon my year will be coming up. So I'm gonna have to get on here and get the hustling. I'm gonna have to get the hustling so I can make sure I get my time in there. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I don't care what other people think. I never have. I've always kind of walked to my own tune anyway. I'm one of those type people. I don't know. I love me. I love me. I love the heck out of me. So I could give a rat's patootie what anybody else thinks. I could care less. I learned a long time ago that you can't please everybody anyway, so there's really no sense in trying. And plus people are so messed up nowadays in the head. It's like you can give them the whole wide world and they're still not happy. You could be the best looking dude, best looking woman, give a person the whole wide world in a handbasket, and some people are still not happy with that. And I learned to just be thankful for life and being able to get up and do what I need to do, being able to see another beautiful day, my kids being healthy. I'm not worried about anything else because if I stay worried about what other people think or what other people do or don't do, I will be a miserable person. I will be a miserable person and I refuse to be miserable. There are so many beautiful things I want to see and do, so I refuse to be miserable. That's true. That's so true. I made sure I taught my boys how to cook because I didn't want them to ever have to rely on an unreliable woman. I know my oldest son, he looked up, he found, he found him a pretty little blonde hair, blue eyed girl who can cook. She's a good little cook. All she does is cook and take care of him. He works for the state correctional facility up here in New Boston, and they just had a little old baby. Just oh, he's just now probably 2 weeks. He is an adorable little kid. He is so adorable. And when I go over to their house, he always he's out. That's the one I was telling you comes over to my house, and he always wants to eat up my food and drink up everything I'm drinking. He wants to be baby. I'm like, boy, I said you can't be babied anymore. You got a little baby. It's time for you to grow up. But he's got a good girl. She's very respectful. She stays on top of him by saving his money so they can buy them a nice little old piece of property. I said, that's how it's supposed to be. And when they were kids, I made sure I taught them it doesn't matter what color a person is. If they don't meet what you need in your life, don't get with them. I remember my grandmother used to give me the hardest time. She didn't like the idea of me like dating outside of my race. And to like please her and make her happy, I dated people and they would really just piss me off because we didn't have anything in common. And one of the things that just, oh my God, used to make me so mad was for somebody to tell me, you don't, how did they say, you don't talk like a black person? That used to be the one thing. I mean, if you want to make me fight you, like not really fight you, but get mad at you, say something that's stupid. I don't understand that. Don't tell me I don't speak like a black person. There are a lot of educated black people. There are a lot of educated white people. There are a lot of uneducated black people and a lot of uneducated white people. Just because a person speaks educated, that doesn't mean they're not speaking black. That doesn't that oh that used to make me so mad. That's what I did. I settled for something that just did not make me happy to try to please like a certain portion of my family. Now that my kids are grown pretty much and I'm way grown, I don't have time for that. I don't care what nobody else don't like. If it doesn't suit my life, it doesn't suit me. I one of the one of my best friends, somebody that I love dearly, we he's this oh my God, this little crazy dude that I met when I moved to Arlington. We were the oddest couple in the world because when I met him, he looked like a skinhead. He really did. He had his hair, I mean, peeled all the way down to the scalp, and he was tattooed. He had tattoos, and he looked like just a no good person. But he was actually one of the hardest working people you'd ever met, you know. And he was real cool with everybody. He was just a cool person. But he didn't look anything, you know, he looked vicious, he looked mean, but he was one of the coolest white boys you've ever met. And I loved him. I was just crazy about him. We were the best of friends. He just had too many problems. He had too many like drug and alcohol problems that I couldn't like have around my kids. Even though we right. And it's like when I met him, it was like it was, you know, the whole moth to a flame. That's how it was. I was like that little sweet little innocent moth being drawn to a flame. I was crazy about that guy. I was so crazy about him. Oh my God. It was just something about him, that whole bad boy persona. I loved it. And I don't even know why. I guess because I came from such a Christian, down home environment. I'll never forget, he had a Ford F-150 XLT, the big one, on some mud tires. And we would ride down through, well, not, I don't think they were mud tires, but they were big tires. We would ride down through town in Texarkana playing Megadeth and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, he loved shocking people because he looked like He looked like he was just as racist as they come. And then all of a sudden he'd be like, "Baby, come here," and I would walk over there next to him, and people would stop and look at us like, "What the heck?" They'd be like, "What the heck?" It was so funny. It was funny. I don't know. I like diversity. I don't care about what other people think about me or what my choices. I like to do what makes me happy. I like being around somebody that make me laugh. It was funny. That big truck, this and I think he was only 5'7". He was 5'7". He was kind of small though. He was like he was a small build. I say he was a medium built guy. He liked either wearing his hair like long in a ponytail or completely bald. Like he was the type of person he loved the attention of others looking at him and thinking he was one way, and then me walking up and showing them that it was completely different from what they thought. He liked that attention. He was something else. If he didn't have so many problems with drugs and alcohol, we probably would have stayed together forever because we actually understood each other. But when a person has problems like that, if they don't ever learn to fix those problems, and it's a conscious decision you have to make. If they don't ever learn to fix those problems, they're gonna destroy everybody they come in contact with. And I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with that aspect of his life. Your cousin have mud tires. That joker. He's crazy about Warrior Princess. He's so crazy about her. That's true. It's true. But honestly, I'm gonna tell you something, Jeff. If I hadn't seen you and your family out there in the woods, you know, it's not about being bold, but it's more about the fact that I feel like I have something in common with you because that reminded me of when I was a kid. We used to go out and hunt and do all kinds of crazy stuff. My dad, he used to keep us either fishing or hunting, and as kids, we loved it. I'll never forget. There was one time when I was about 11 or 12. We went out to check some traps, and we were walking in the woods because used to in our like we lived in this little apartment complex, but if you went out into the woods you could find rabbit, deer, you could find anything, coons, you could find anything. And then if you kept walking for about like a half of a mile, no, not even a half a mile, not even that far, like a maybe about a third of a mile, you keep walking, you run into this creek. So you could fish, you could hunt, you could trap, you could do pretty much anything. We got quail, we got we shot deer, we trapped out there and got raccoons. See, we did trapping, we didn't have dogs. And so we were going to check dad's traps. And I'll never forget, it was snowing. It was just white everywhere. This is when we lived in Nashville, Arkansas. It was white everywhere. We was dressed in our camis, out there checking the traps and stuff. Why is it that when we were on our way home from the traps, we saw this big gray wolf come walk right in front of us? Dad had his little hand signals and stuff that he taught us so that we would be quiet as we were moving about in the woods so we wouldn't startle anything. Because even though we were going to check the traps, we always took guns in case we ran up on something that we could shoot, to kill, to take home, skin and eat it up, cut it up and get it ready to either be stored or eat. And so we were on our way home from checking the traps. And I think we had a couple of I don't think it was coon that we were looking for in those traps. It was something else. I want to say it was like minks, or it was something. It was something that we were trapping, that the fur that we were selling. It was, back then you could get good money for that type of trapping. And so we finished checking the traps. I think we had a few rabbits. I think we shot a couple of rabbits, but we were on our way back to the house. Oh my God. My dad did this little hand sign, and I stopped and dropped, kneeled down to look and see what was going on because I thought it was a deer. He pointed in a direction, and when I looked up, there was this big gray wolf. It saw us. It just walked right in front of us. It was huge. That sucker was huge. Do you hear me? It looked like I don't think I've ever even on movies seen a wolf that big. I don't know if it was a mama wolf and it was pregnant. I don't know what the deal was with that, but I know it was a big wolf. And this was right out, not too far from where we lived in the woods. It was like you don't see stuff like that anymore. And that's the kind of stuff that we would be out. We'd be out hunting. We would see deer. You would see any kind of, you might see coyotes. You would see any kind of animals out there. I've been out hunting with dad. We would just be out squirrel hunting. And you look out in the distance and see turkeys out there. You were subject to see anything when we went hunting. But I think the reason why I connected with you is because what you guys do, it reminded me of what we used to do when I was a kid. I don't make connections with people that easily. Not connections enough to really just share my life with them. No. But a lot of it is because so many people have moved in different areas that it's flushed a lot of wildlife out and away from their natural habitat. I mean, their natural habitat. It's weird because I went to Nashville not too long ago just to see how it looked, see if it had changed a lot. And those woods that we used to hunt in, somebody clear cut those woods out. I almost, oh my God, it was like they ripped away a whole part of my life. I was so devastated. I couldn't believe they literally clear cut all those woods out. And I couldn't understand why would they do that, because it was such a beautiful part of town, but people are always developing, and so yeah, they cut it out, and it was like they cut out a whole part of my childhood. But people do what they want to do with their land. It wasn't nothing we could do about it, but it sure hurt when I seen that. I don't take up with a lot of people either. I network. I will network with people, and I don't know if you notice, it is. And whenever the Lord blesses me that I can get me a nice little old patch of land, I'm gonna make sure it is as natural as it can be, with the exception of right close to my house. Because you have to have a cleared out space far enough from the house, or you'll find snakes and everything else in your house all the time. But I want it to be just as natural. I want there to be plenty trees. I don't want, a matter of fact, I want my house just like the way you described it. The way you would like to have your house, sitting out in the middle of a bunch of woods. That's how my mom and dad live. That's how I want to live. I want people to drive by and not even know it's anybody living out there. But yeah, I network with people because I know that's what I need to do to get to my goal. But as far as just like, I don't know, I don't mess with too many people, especially if I see they trying to, if they're trying to start any mess or do anything that's not right, I don't fool with them, because I don't need that stress in my life. I just want to I want to get my channel to a certain point where I can read my books, market and promote my books. I want to be able to, market and promote other independent artists, give them a platform where they can come and show, how talented they are. Of course, I'm gonna do my little videos every now and again because I like to do videos where I review other people's work. Oh yeah. And I can tell that because y'all, you guys are such a close knit group over there. That's pretty awesome. You guys are really awesome. That I'm telling you, I nearly died laughing at y'all trying to get them boys trying to get some crawdads out of those holes. Oh my god, I nearly died laughing. Them jokers filling up their boots with water to pour in the crawdad holes. Oh my god. That's uh, I hate to hear that. I guess I mean if it's good drama and it's not bad drama, then that's one thing. But if it's bad drama, I sure hate to hear that. I hate for anybody to have to deal with drama because drama is stressful. It's too stressful. Those men, I'm telling you, y'all remind me of when we were kids. I swear. I'll never forget the time we thought we were gonna dig ourselves a swimming pool. We was out there. It was this little ditch that you would, cross over as you were going out into the woods. And one day we just got it in our mind that we was gonna dig us a swimming pool. Yeah, I understand that. My boys, not my boys, my brother, he was always the mastermind behind every crazy thing we did. He was like, we can go out here and we can create our own swimming pool. All we have to do is dig a hole out, and then when it rains, we can come out here and swim in. You should have seen these kids out there working together trying to dig a swimming pool. Boy, we had some of the best ideas. Where we used to live in Arkansas, there is these long vines that come down out of the trees, and the vines, like during the summertime, the spring, the early part of the spring before it started getting too hot, those vines will be covered with all these big, lush, beautiful green leaves. Okay. My brother, we seen all these long vines coming out the trees. Why is it that my brother, he was like, oh, we can play Tarzan. We can play Tarzan. Here we are with our crazy selves, getting up in those trees and holding on to those vines and jumping like the fools that we were. It is a wonder we didn't kill ourselves a million times over. I'll never forget. I'll never forget before I saw that movie with Brendan Fraser in it when he was Tarzan. I will never forget the day that my brother jumped out of one of those trees on a vine, and he literally hit a tree and he smacked into that tree and slid down it. I was like, oh my God, we thought he was dead. I'm telling you, there were so many times, if it wasn't for God being who he is, we would have been, I'm telling you, when we were little, we used to jump. At my grandmother's house. She lived in this apartment complex, and kids will always figure out a way to have fun. We were such dangerous little kids. We found this mattress. I guess somebody had thrown it out, abandoned it, or whatever. So we were jumping off the top of the apartment onto the mattress. Why is it that my brother, Lord, I thought we was the only one that did crazy stuff like that. My brother was too impatient to wait his turn. It was my turn. That joker pushed me off the house and I landed on the ground. No mattress, just straight flat on the ground. He had to run to the house and get somebody. They had to come up there and get me. They thought I was dead. I'm laying there. All the air done got pushed out of my lungs. I'm struggling to breathe. Excuse me. I'm telling you, we did the craziest stuff when we were kids. We were always going on adventures into the woods. Oh my God, it ain't no telling how many times we came close to losing our lives and we didn't even know it. We there was a little creek. You know, there's it seemed like there was always a little creek everywhere when you were a kid. There was a little creek and we would go down there to that little creek and call ourselves fishing, try to catch these little bitty fish that we saw, little minnows we saw swimming around out there. And I'll never forget my brother, he saw a daggone snapping turtle. He takes the stick that he done wrapped this string around and he fishing with it. He used the stick to mess with the snapping turtle. That snapping turtle bit onto that stick and broke it. And then my that boy, he was so silly. He tried to put his finger down there. I yanked him up and said, "You better not do that, cause I'm gonna get a whooping if you get hurt." We had to go because I was like, "Nope, I'm not gonna get a whooping today." Oh my goodness, we had some good times. We were at a friend's house one day. He hit a hornet's nest. He ain't told nobody he hit the hornet's nest. Once he hit the hornet's nest, we just saw him take off running. We didn't know why he was running. He didn't say a word. All of a sudden, we just started getting stung, just getting stung. This joker done took off running. It was hornets flying after him. They were chasing him because you know you can't run from hornets. They go after whatever they see moving. So he thought he was gonna hit the hornet's nest and we were gonna get stung up and he was gonna get away. He got stung more than we did. I'm telling you, we had some times when we were kids. I used to beat my brother up on the regular because he was always getting us into all kind of trouble. I figure I haven't really just written too many stories about my brother because my brother he committed suicide in 2004. And honestly, I don't really like to talk about him that much because I don't really want to just think about that. But when I think about the fun times that we had, it kind of balances the thoughts out, you know. But yeah, he was an awesome guy. He had just this bigger than life personality. And yeah, yeah. That was my brother. No, it's not really something to be sorry about because it happened so long ago. It's been 15 years ago. It's just, it kind of puts life in perspective when you think about people who've left and stuff like that. It just kind of puts life in perspective. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that God is good and really and truthfully I've had some amazing experiences. Crazy experiences, but amazing. I met some crazy people, but amazing people too. Even here on YouTube, I met some pretty awesome people. I honestly, one of the reasons why I always go to your live is because you guys are absolutely amazing. Y'all are too fun. And I love going to your live because it is always so much fun. Mm-mm. Well, don't say yet. Just say you ain't met them because if you say yet, they subject to all pour into your room, pour into your chat. I mean, it's good if you haven't because they're out there, honey. Believe me when I tell you, they are out there. I think it's because you got in with a good group at first. It's really fun. I think I don't know, it's just the combination of you and your son and your brother. Y'all are hilarious. Y'all are really hilarious. And when y'all think y'all got a coon treat, honey, y'all get the acting up. Y'all get the acting up. I think it really makes a big difference when you start out with some good people, because if you start out with some good people, they can really like introduce you to other good people, and yet you can kind of stay on track. When I started out, I just came to YouTube just to listen to other people, honestly. I never in a million years did I ever think I would have my own channel. I just started YouTube. um I just started viewing YouTube June of last year. I started my own channel August of last year. And when I first started my channel, I have another channel that deals with nothing but books and book related stuff. It's for a community that I okay. I know I remember that one night when they got a coon and it was in a hole. It was not in the like up in the tree. It was in this little hole. I guess like he was trying to hide in that hole, but he didn't find a good hiding space because y'all was excited and you got him. I seen him on that video. Um when I started on here, I originally just started talking about writing, talking about just helping people understand why writing is such a good thing. It helps if you're dealing with depression, stress, or just life, just the pressures of life. Writing is a good way to kind of like put on paper your feelings, and it helps you kind of process some of the stuff that you deal with that you just kind of walk around carrying all day long. And so um basically I was just kind of like encouraging people, other independent authors, encouraging them not to give up on their writing, to stay focused, stay determined, and stay in it. And I would highlight some of their works. I would read other people's books. If I thought they were good, I would review their books. If I thought their books were really good and I thought they were awesome and people needed to know about them, I would highlight those books. I would highlight like two authors per video on my channel. And I just did that because I wanted to. Nobody asked me to do it. I just felt like that was the right thing to do. I would also do a shout out for people who made changes in the world, like women who did outstanding things to make changes in the world. Um, I would always introduce people to different technology to help them understand how to go about writing or how to do a video, just stuff like that. I think I have like 55 followers on that channel, and I don't even do anything on that channel anymore. I think they're all writers, so they're all just kind of waiting for me to, kind of like build that channel back up. But then I came over here and I started looking for funny things to watch on YouTube, and that's when I started watching other people. And when I started watching other people, I found this one content creator, and she was funny, and her lives were crazy. You know what I'm saying? Her it was real crazy, but it started going bad. It started going real bad, and I had to get away from that because it was very toxic and vicious, and I didn't like that. So that's when I started uploading my own videos because I like positive stuff. And then every now and again, I'll do a video on, like, if somebody on YouTube is showing out too bad, I'll do a review of them and their work and their content. um, so this part of YouTube with the networking and stuff like that, I just recently found out about this part of YouTube about probably a month and a half ago. I stumbled on, I typed in authors on YouTube, and I stumbled onto Sheila D, author Sheila D. Oh yeah. Oh God, that woman is. Woo, I don't know. I think she got some bad juju going on there. It's something not right because it's a lot of weird stuff that goes on with her, and I just don't. I can't deal with her. But I do. I review her because she's done a lot of cyberbullying and stuff, and I don't like that. I don't like people picking on other folks. I think that's disgusting. Everybody's different. People do different things, but it doesn't mean you have to pick on them because they're not like you or they don't want to fall in line with you. Um, when I found author Sheila D, she has kind of a group of people that she kind of networks with. And I liked her setup because she would always tell people, all right, y'all, make sure y'all get each other, not get, she would say something else. Make sure y'all become family members, make sure y'all link up. She would always say stuff and tell us to encourage us to like help each other out. She said we're all networking. And then as I started connecting with some of the people from her lives, those people were already networking with other people. And so that's kind of how I found out about Val and Coco. That's how I found out about Sugar Delights. um Oh God, yes. I live such a, I don't know, I live kind of a sheltered life. I don't deal with a whole lot of mess. I won't even put up with my family members' mess. I honestly, another reason that I wanted to move to Arkansas is because I don't have time for drama or mess. And some of the people, like my family members, they have messy ways and tendencies. And I just don't have time for that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. And like, I've been blessed. I've always worked really hard. Not too long ago, I started, I actually had to go on disability because I went to get up one morning and I couldn't stand. It was like I was dealing with so much pain in my back, and I just couldn't even, I could barely breathe. Honestly, I don't know what those people are doing, but I know a lot of it I think is scamming because a lot of those people scam folks so that they can get them to send them money. And I won't do it. I'm sorry. I don't have money to send out to anybody. I just don't have it. And even if I did, I wouldn't. If I'm going to spend money, I'll buy somebody who's homeless some food to eat or something like that. But I'm not going to send it to somebody who can get up and go work. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, the only reason I left Dallas is because I got so sick. I thought I was going to be up out of here pretty soon. And I've decided that Dallas really wasn't the place for me because, people in Dallas are really aggressive and they'll try to take advantage of you, especially a lady, if they see that you're dealing with, health issues. And so I made the decision to go, to come back home, closer to home. When I got here, when I made it back this way, um, I moved close to my sister. My sister lives here. My oldest daughter lives here with her family. My oldest son lives here with his family. My mother recently got sick, and I don't want to spend too much time away from her in case, I'm pretty sure she'll be back on her feet and, up and doing everything that she does. But I don't want to spend a lot of time away from my mom because if anything ever happens, I'll be sick with myself. And even though my health is not 100%, there's nothing wrong with my mind. My mind is 100% sharp. And so I feel like with writing, working on, building up my platform on YouTube, I feel like I'll be all right. I know I'll be fine because I have other things in the pot. And I just want to be closer to my family. I don't want anything to happen to my mom or my dad, and then I be too far away from them. That would really be harmful to me. So I decided I want to go back to Arkansas because I'll be closer to my folks. Plus, it's a more relaxed, laid back life in Arkansas than it is in Texas. So I think I'm going to go back to my roots, get away from the junk and the drama. I thought about going back to Dallas, but even just the thought of dealing with traffic, I said I'll pass on that. That doggone traffic up there is such a nightmare. But I mean, there's so much going on that in Dallas, but nah, I pass. I pass. No, that's she's a real author. I know she's written one book for sure. She may have written two, but I know she's written one for sure. And I'm gonna see about reviewing her book on my channel because it's like I said, my platform is really gonna be more of a creative platform. It's not. I'm not. I could never be Val and Coco. She has so much energy. It's just amazing. I could never be her. I could never, ever, ever in a million years do what she does. She's got enough energy for 10 people. I watched her for the first time and I was like, ooh, girl, you got it going on. She is very energetic. I'm more of a laid back person. I upload my videos. You can hear me laughing and snickering in the background because that's what I do. She does. She is very good. And uh you should check out Jay Scully, author. His the name of his channel is Scully's House of Thrills. She's your YouTube wife. Okay. She's amazing. She's got a lot of energy, honey. She is energetic. She could share energy with 10 people and still have enough energy for herself. She's so well. But you should try go over and show. I mean, I'm just saying if you want, go over and show if you don't already have him. Um it's called Scully's House of Thrills, I believe. That dude is awesome. He is really awesome. He reads his books as well. He now his books he's got the kind of books that I like to read. His books like he's it's called The Dutch Coffee Shop. Man, the last chapter that he read that I listened to, it was pretty good because this dude they sell like marijuana and hashish and stuff in these coffee shops in that's good. That is real good. You know, I a lot of people won't do that. There are a lot of people who won't teach you anything. So you are very blessed to have someone like her who that'll help you because a lot of people won't show you or teach you anything. It's like I said, I was just really, really lucky to stumble on author Sheila D because if I hadn't stumbled on her, I wouldn't have met a lot of the other people that I've met who she is in contact with. That's really how I kind of got into, that's how I met Val and Coco. That's how I met Sugar Delights. That's how I met a lot of people. And since I met Sugar Delights, I've learned a lot from her because she is the one that told me, she was talking to all of us, telling us that you can't go on YouTube expecting to make money. In order to make money from you on YouTube, you have to make money through sponsorship. Oh, excuse me. You have to make money through sponsorship. The sponsors are what will be your bread and butter on YouTube. Yeah, you better go to sleep. I didn't wake up until probably about 2 o'clock yesterday, so I don't keep a schedule, so I could be up all morning and not fall asleep again until noon. So you get you some sleep, hon. I appreciate you hanging out with me, helping me out. I really do. Get you some sleep, and I will definitely see you later. And thank you to anyone else who has stopped by and helped me out in this live. I really appreciate it. I will see everybody sometime today. I'll have another live sometime today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. This is Black Conspiracy TV, BAD TV. Thank you so much, guys. Have a blessed day. And remember, keep your eyes open and your ears sharp. See you later, guys. Bye. See you later, hon. Bye, Jeff.